Reigning world champion Lando Norris topped the timesheet on the first day of official Formula One pre-season testing in Bahrain with a 1:34.669. But it wasn't McLaren that had everyone in the paddock talking. It was Max Verstappen and Red Bull. The four-time champion completed a staggering 136 laps, more than anyone else on the grid. And what caught everyone's eye was Red Bull's apparent ability to deploy more electrical power than rivals over consecutive laps. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff admitted Red Bull is setting, quote, the benchmark right now, while McLaren chief Zak Brown said he was impressed by the Milton Keynes squad. This is the first official test where live timing is available, and the pecking order is starting to reveal itself. Norris set his fastest lap with just over an hour remaining in the afternoon session, edging Verstappen by just 0.129 seconds. Oscar Piastri had driven the morning session for McLaren, setting the fifth fastest time with 54 laps, before Norris took over and added 58 more laps in the afternoon. That gave McLaren 112 laps total, which is one more than a complete race distance at Bahrain. The reigning champion is carrying the number 1 on his car for the first time in his career, and he told media it's, quote, pretty surreal still to see it on the timing screen. But here's what really matters. Verstappen was fastest in the morning session with a 1:35.433 and never stopped running. He became the first driver of the day to reach the 1:00 lap mark. And what impressed rivals wasn't just the lap count. Multiple sources in the paddock noted that Red Bull's apparent ability to deploy more electrical power than rivals over consecutive laps was the standout technical observation of the day. Verstappen set his fastest time of 1:34 by 798 during a 7-lap stint on soft tyres late in the afternoon, falling just 0.129 seconds short of Norris. Toto Wolff didn't hold back when asked about Red Bull's performance. He told media, quote, I was hoping they would be worse than they are. They have done a very good job. The car, the power unit, are the benchmark at the moment, I would say. That's a massive admission from Mercedes, especially considering they came into this season as overwhelming favourites after their Barcelona dominance. Wolff's comments suggest Red Bull's gamble on building their own power unit with Ford is paying off far better than anyone expected. McLaren boss Zak Brown echoed Wolff's assessment. Speaking before Norris had replaced Verstappen at the top of the timesheet, Brown told Sky Sports F1, quote, I think we can't come to any firm conclusions. If I had to go Vegas to bet on it, it looks like the Big Four are the Big Four. Kind of hard to tell in what order. Mercedes were very strong in Spain. Max has done some great lap times around here, but it kind of looks like the grid is in a similar position. Charles Leclerc finished third for Ferrari, half a second behind Norris after completing 80 laps. Lewis Hamilton had driven the morning session, setting the 7th fastest time over 52 laps. Ferrari completed 132 laps total between the two drivers, which is solid mileage. But multiple observers noted that the Ferrari SF26 appeared to be a handful out on track. Hamilton had a spin in the morning session that highlighted the challenge. The car looks nervous and difficult to drive, continuing the struggles they showed in Barcelona. Mercedes flew under the radar despite being in the midst of a growing controversy over their power unit and the compression ratio loophole. George Russell completed 56 laps in the morning with a fastest time that was 1.439 seconds behind Norris. Kimi Antonelli took over in the afternoon, running predominantly on hard compound Pirellis, and was 2.96 seconds off the pace over just 30 laps. Mercedes confirmed they were, quote, fixing an issue we found as part of our planned setup changes, which limited Antonelli's running. After their incredible Barcelona performance where they completed over 500 laps, this was a more ordinary day for the Silver Arrows. Esteban Ocon was the second busiest driver of the day behind Verstappen, putting 115 laps on the Haas VF26 and setting the 4th fastest time. That's a strong showing for the American team, which is running Ferrari power units. Haas appears to be making good progress with their 2026 package. Williams finally made their testing debut after completely missing the Barcelona shakedown due to production delays. Carlos Sainz ran 77 laps in the morning session alone, which is cumulatively more than a race distance. Alex Albon took over in the afternoon, and the team ended the day with 145 laps total, the most of any team. Sainz finished 13th fastest with Albon 10th. Williams team principal James Vowles must be relieved to finally get their car on track and start gathering data. There was massive disappointment for Aston Martin. The AMR26 managed just 36 laps total after Lance Stroll detected what the team described as, quote, a data anomaly from the new Honda power unit. Stroll ran 33 tours in the morning but parked up after just 3 more following the lunch break. His fastest lap was a 1:39.883, which was over 5 seconds off the pace. This is a disaster for Aston Martin, especially considering they already lost significant track time in Barcelona. Adrian Newey's first design for the team is struggling badly. The big visual story of the day was Audi arriving with a dramatic B-spec sidepod design that completely changes the overall look of the car. The new sidepods have an undercut design that's unique on the grid and caught everyone's attention. Gabriel Bortoleto was classified 8th fastest, while Nico Hülkenberg brought out the second red flag of the day when he stopped on the back straight but was able to get his car restarted quickly. Audi is clearly trying different concepts to find performance. Cadillac, making its first appearance in public as an official F1 team, split driving duties between Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Perez finished 14th fastest, with Bottas 16th. They're still finding their feet as a new organization, but at least they're getting laps in and gathering data. There were 2 red flags during the day. The first was caused by Franco Colapinto stopping on track in the Alpine. The Argentine was the slowest of the 18 drivers who drove on Wednesday and covered the fewest laps with just 28. Alpine clearly had some issues limiting Colapinto's running. Pierre Gasly took over in the afternoon but also had a difficult session. Racing Bull's rookie Arvid Lindblad took the VCARB 03 for a full day of running and finished 12th, completing 75 laps. But the team had to call time on its running with around an hour left on the clock after a fluid leak ended their day early. That's a setback for the sister Red Bull team. As expected with the new regulations, early lap times offered little to excite. The green track surface, gusting winds, and the fact that many drivers were circulating laden with aerodynamic measuring equipment meant times were all over the place. Several drivers had off-track excursions at turn 10, largely attributed to the tailwind, but also a factor of varying approaches to braking and energy harvesting. The 2026 cars require completely different battery management, with almost 50% of power coming from electrical energy. Here's what stands out from day 1. The top 4 from Barcelona testing appear to still be the top 4: Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. But within that group, Red Bull is making a strong statement with their reliability and electrical deployment. Mercedes had an off day, but they're still the favorites. McLaren looks solid with Norris carrying the number 1, and Ferrari is struggling with a difficult car that needs a lot of work. The rest of the grid has serious ground to make up. Aston Martin's troubles with Honda are alarming. The new teams, Audi and Cadillac, are still learning. Williams is just happy to be on track. And the midfield teams like Haas, Alpine, and Racing Bulls are trying to establish themselves in the new pecking order. There are 2 more days of this first test on Thursday and Friday, then a second 3-day test from February 18 to 20 before the season kicks off with the Australian Grand Prix on March 6 to 8. Day 1 gave us the first real glimpse of where everyone stands. And the message is clear. Red Bull is not going away quietly. Mercedes needs to bounce back. And the fight at the front is going to be closer than anyone expected. What do you think? Can Red Bull challenge Mercedes and McLaren? Is Ferrari's car fixable? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more F1 news. I'll catch you in the next one.